Hello, you guys. Happy Black History Month. Hey! For today's Black History fact when this video is uploaded, according to my calendar, the 4th of Feb is when Rosa Parks, civil rights activist, was born in 1913. So the more you know. But today's episode 84, is going to be all of our winter favorites. So you better be watching this episode with your notes app open, with the pen and paper, because we're going to put you guys on to so many good things that have literally changed our lives in our winter. But before we get into all that, we're going to get into our life updates like always. So, Elizabeth, go ahead and tell the people what you've been up to.
You guys, first off, if you're watching on YouTube, I want to apologize about my lighting. I'm still getting used to it, so ignore the glare in my glasses. This is the glasses life. What can I say? But I'm doing finishing touches in my room. So if you guys watched last episode, I actually have like something in my background right now. So I'm like starting to hang up things, and I feel like I'm finally at the part that's making my room come together. So I'm very excited about that. And then I spent this weekend I was pretty active this weekend actually. So one of my best friends from college, it was her birthday, so I went up to Cincinnati for the weekend, and I was able to hang out with some friends that I hadn't seen in a hot minute because I don't even remember the last time I was up there. But I was able to hang out with some friends, and we went to a little like jazz club bar setup. And honestly, you guys, I think that's the move. The vibes were just so nice. It's not like it gave classy vibes. We were the youngest people in the bar, but it was still like really good vibes all around. And then today one of my cousins is getting married, so I went with her to some like wedding expos and everything. And let me just say, I'm so glad I'm personally not in that point in my life because those things are expensive. And then my last little life update is, you guys, well, my life update's actually wrong because I originally put in the outline I'm embarking on the tandem read in the Throne of Glass series. But so like I if you guys don't know what the tandem read is, it's basically two books in the series take place at the exact same time. So it's recommended that you read both of these books at the same time, and you kind of like alternate different chapters between both of the books. So you're reading it in like chronological timeline order. And I started it, and I even like bookmarked all the things. I wrote down a piece of paper of like what chapters I need to read where. And then I realized I actually have another book that I need to read before I get there. So cancel that. I'm not embarking on the tandem read, but I'm one step closer. But that's all of my little life updates for you guys.
For me, I have been feeling so frazzled, I feel like recently, mentally, because this past week I haven't had class once except for one night class on Monday because the snow made all of the in person classes canceled for literally this whole week. I'm happy that it seems like this upcoming week will get back on track, which I'm really excited for because I'm a girl that thrives on routine. But I felt like I was just floating through the week. I was like, what am I even doing? I don't even know what's going on in any of my classes. Like, I'm just getting up early doing all this work, but I just felt like I could never, catch up in a way. I always felt a little bit behind, but I'm feeling good by the end of this week. I have everything turned in, but I swear this week was the most like randomest week ever. I think a lot of people have not been in school classes for the past week, and it's just insane how this snow really got us together in the South. And then I have been decluttering my digital life, more specifically my Snap memories, because if you guys didn't know, check your memories, because I don't think they really like broadly advertised this. But Snapchat, within like the next year or so, they're gonna start charging you for your memories, and it's like a monthly like subscription. And ain't nobody got time for that, so I have bought a flash drive. And so this past weekend, I spent like 2 days going through my Snap memories, and y'all, I went from like 52 to 9, or not 9, 11 gigabytes. So I was like, bet, that's perfect. So I have plenty of storage left on my flash drive to put like other stuff in it, because I want to clear out like my Google Drive and stuff too, because it just has like old camera footage. And my phone storage, it got full, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta delete all this stuff. It was really good because I just had like a lot of old stuff on my phone that I don't need anymore, so that felt good. And you guys know me, I'm always gonna make something deep, like that is just my whole life. But it made me realize like, oh, like, I can like look at the past and like stuff from the past with kind of like a different light. Like I was looking at some stuff from like high school, I was like, oh, like I'm just like being so stupid and silly, but in a good way. But then it was truly freshman year, first semester that really got me. I said, "Ooh, I need to take a break." One, because Snapchat wasn't working, but I was like, "Wow!" Just like thinking like back at that time and how I felt. Sometimes when you like look at old stuff, it like brings up those old memories, and I was like, "Ooh, don't want to go back to that time of my life." And plus, I look chopped, so I was like, I do not want to look at this stuff anymore. But still, at the same time, I still look at it in fondness because it's like I just want to hug her, and it's like I've come so far. And then this last thing, I've been trying this app, activations. This will be my second day having it. I'm on like a 14-day free trial just because I want to see what it's about. Essentially, I heard about this app through a podcast that I've talked about so many times on here, the What We Said podcast with JC and Chelsea. And they had the CEO of this app on because they've talked about her before, and they actually used this app called Activations. And the podcast episode was actually like really inspiring, and so I really liked it, and I liked the CEO, so I try to listen to her on other podcasts as well. And basically the CEO made this app because she was, didn't have the best mindset, blah blah blah. She was at this point of this life where she just like was seeking purpose and was trying to like ground herself mentally, I would say. And but she wasn't one to meditate. Like typical meditation practices weren't doing, like they weren't helpful to her. So basically she created this app for people who aren't really ones to do meditation. Like meditation isn't their thing, and it's just kind of like speaking like mindful like affirmations and stuff like that. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's basically like meditation but not meditation. It's kind of like the act of that, but better if you can't meditate. I'm like describing it terribly, but like for example, I listened to two activations last night, and one of them was like bedtime gratitude, and she was like, sit here and like visualize all the people you're grateful for. You're grateful for this and this. So it's like instead of just like sitting there with nothing, she's kind of like guiding you through and like helping you come up with things in your mind, because I feel like that's the biggest reason why I couldn't get into meditation in the past when I've tried. So I'm really liking it. I don't think I'm going to continue it, but I'm seeing if like it is something I could implement like just on my own in the future. So that is something I'm trying. And yeah, that's what I've been up to.
All I know is kudos to Kennedy for going through your Snapchat stuff, because I personally have apparently like 92 gigabytes on mine, which is terrifying to go through. I do want to say I feel majority of it is Snapchat like stories, private stories that get automatically saved. So I need to disable that so it doesn't keep on building. But I'm just terrified to go through like 92 gigabytes. It's 92 gigabytes of me just yapping. So, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and move on to favorites of the week. And my favorite of the week for this past week was cooking slash making meals. I wanted to put like cooking slash making because I feel I don't necessarily be cooking, like sauteing stuff and like seasoning, but I do be like making meals. And I feel like making bagels or like yogurt parfaits or like wraps, like that kind of stuff. I feel that doesn't necessarily mean cooking, but I've just been really enjoying making different meals and just making it like super balanced and things that honestly like I haven't done like anything like recipe following, just kind of like seeing what's in the fridge and making something work. So I've been really enjoying doing that this past week.
And I feel like low key that's the best when it's a meal that you might like buy somewhere, but then you're like, oh, I'll just make this at home, and then it's like, wow, this is just as good, maybe even better, like perfect.
Exactly. And like my intent with this was a couple weeks ago before the snowstorm, I bought Chick-fil-A's avocado lime ranch because I wanted to try making my own version of like the wraps because I love the wraps. And I completely forgot to buy the tortillas for the wraps. But this week I bought the tortillas. So I was able to finally like execute my idea. And yeah, this is your guys' sign to not eat out and waste your money when you can just make it at home.
And my favorite of the week is a podcast episode from the podcast Note to Self, and it is her most recent episode as of the date we're recording this, called Caring About the World Without Ruining Your Life. And it was an interesting episode just about, we know everything that's going on in the world, or more specifically the USA right now. And she was basically, just talking about that and talking about her experience, about how she used to be what you would might say like a conservative growing up, just because that's what she grew up with. And I thought that's like, I feel like those type of stories are kind of important to show other people who may be kind of questioning how they grew up. Like, it's okay to change your mind, and how like she changed her mind when she was in college because she was having to do assignments over policies and stuff because she was a political science major, and she was like, once you like they make you obviously back up your work and stuff, that's when she quote unquote got liberalized. And so she was just talking about that, and then just how ways you can like still be involved in the community and be informed about what's going on, but not letting it overtake your life, because sometimes it can really turn into actual doom scrolling when the feed is just so heavy with everything. So I thought it was a very insightful and important episode for what is going on today.
I'm gonna definitely have to check that out, especially just like I feel like looking at different perspectives and stuff, I think is very interesting. Especially because I feel like I tend to surround myself with similar perspectives and interests, so it's just seeing how people change, really tells you a lot about certain people. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into pop culture. And I thought it would be fun, you guys, because breaking the fourth wall here, we are recording on Sunday, February 1st, which is Grammy night. So I think we're gonna do little Grammy predictions of the most like the top four most important like popular categories and predict who we think are gonna win. And by the time this episode is posted, we'll see if we're right or wrong. So we're just gonna be going over album of the year, record of the year, song of the year, and then best new artist. So let me pull up the nominees, you guys. So for the first one, album of the year, the nominees are, I feel like a presenter, you guys. It's Bad Bunny with Debí Tirar Más Fotos, Justin Bieber, Swag, Sabrina Carpenter, Man's Best Friend, I don't know how to say this, Clips, I think, Let God Sort 'Em Out, Lady Gaga with Mayhem, Kendrick Lamar with his album GNX, Leon Thomas with his album Mutt, and of course Tyler the Creator with his album Chromacopia.
Honestly, you guys, my probably favorite album out of this whole list is Sabrina Carpenter's Man's Best Friend, but I don't think that's going to win. I could see it being up between Bad Bunny and Kendrick Lamar, just because I think those are two really big names right now. But Chromacopia was a really good album as well, but I feel like when it came out, that's when I really listened to it. I don't really listen to it as much now. So, I mean, that's a good option as well, but honestly, I feel like it's either going to be between Bad Bunny and Kendrick realistically. I haven't heard much about Mayhem, but I'm not a big Lady Gaga listener as well. I'm not sure who Clips is either. I'm sure they make good music. I know Leon, almost called him Liam. I know Leon Thompson also makes good music, like Andre, period. I haven't listened to it, but I know a lot of people love that album. So yeah, but I'm still keeping it. Bad Bunny and Kendrick Lamar are probably gonna win.
I also think Bad Bunny's gonna win it, and I'm so excited for next week's Super Bowl halftime show. But I think it's a given. It's gonna be Bad Bunny. Low key, I've seen recently a lot of people talking about Lady Gaga's album, so I feel like it could be a top contender. But I think it's gonna go to Bad Bunny. If it goes to anyone else, I feel that he may have been robbed personally, just like the reach of that album. But then the next category is record of the year, and I do want to say personally, I to this day don't really understand the difference between record of the year and song of the year. I don't know if Kennedy has any insight, but the nominees for record of the year are Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, Anxiety by Doechii, Apartment or APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, Debí Tirar Más Fotos by Bad Bunny, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, Manchild by Sabrina Carpenter, The Subway by Chappell Roan, and then Wildflower by Billie Eilish. And I completely forgot that Billie's album like dropped this past year. I feel like that was 2 years ago or something. But no, I guess it was 2025. So those are the nominees for record of the year.
Yeah, honestly, even saying with some of the albums, I'm like, wait, that came out in 2025? Like, what? But Anxiety, that's a good song. Low key, Doechii has like other better songs in my opinion. But that did have a moment on TikTok. Apartment, I'm gonna just call it Apartment. I don't really know. That one also had a moment. I love that song for a part of the year. Manchild, low key, I feel like that's one of the I like that song, but it's to me, in my personal opinion, it's one of the weaker songs of that whole album. I mean, The Subway, that's like iconic. So is Wildflower, and honestly think it's gonna be Bad Bunny again because that's just who's popping, and he's gonna do the Super Bowl. I could see Kendrick Lamar, Luther having, maybe I could see that. Maybe Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. I feel like I did hear a lot about that record, but low key, I could also see the Rose and Bruno Mars songs. So I'm gonna put either Apartment or the Bad Bunny song to win record of the year.
Mine, I'm thinking the Bad Bunny song or oh my gosh, you guys, low key Lady Gaga or the Bruno Mars one. Just because I feel like the Abracadabra, that song, I feel like it is like very well known, but I'm thinking one of those. Like Kennedy said, Sabrina, I feel like if it was a different one of her songs, it definitely could have been. I just feel like Man Child became very like mainstream kind of. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I unfortunately don't think it's gonna be Billy, even though Wildflower is my personal favorite song from that album, but I think that there's some other stronger contenders.
So I looked up the actual difference between record of the year and song of the year, so we all won't be confused. But it says record of the year honors the production and performance of a specific recording awarded to the artists, producers, engineers, and mixers, while song of the year honors the songwriting awarded only to the songwriters. So it says, think of it as record is about the recording, so the sound and the hit factor, and song is about the song itself, so the lyrics and melody.
I feel like now I take back what I said because I feel like while Bad Bunny's song is good, I feel like it's more so the lyrics. But I guess he has like the drums and stuff like that. So like low key, I feel like SZA and Kendrick Lamar's. I feel like theirs has a lot of like technical stuff to it.
I'm gonna keep my answers the same.
The way with our answers, we basically one of us is gonna be right because we're saying like everybody. And then our next one is Song of the Year, and this one is Abracadabra by Lady Gaga, Anxiety by Doechii, Apartment by Rose and Bruno Mars, Debí Tirar Más Fotos by Bad Bunny, Golden from the K-pop Demon Hunters, Huntrix, and then Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA, Man Child by Sabrina Carpenter, and then Wildflower by Billie Eilish. Loki, I feel like most of these were from the same other category. Me personally, I have one only answer, and it's Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. I feel like that song has to be Song of the Year. Just the reach of that song, the lyrics of that song. Yeah, that song, if it isn't that song, they were robbed. They were robbed.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Golden just because it's so popular. My personal opinion, while I like the K-pop Demon Hunter movies, and the album, if it wins, in my personal opinion, I feel like that would definitely be a choice. But I like that song. I'm not saying it's a bad song, but I think Golden's gonna take this one.
I feel like my other runner up, which I unfortunately don't think it's gonna get it, is Wildflower because that song, the lyrics, like if we're going off lyrics, that song, especially if you know, yeah, that one, the lyrics are so good. But I love K-pop Demon Hunters and I love Golden even more. So I think it's gonna be Golden. But then our last little category is Best New Artist. And I feel like this one, there's some pretty good ones, I feel. We have Addison Rae, which I know I feel like Katie's gonna say that this is her pick. We have Alex Warren, Olivia Dean, Cat's Eye, which I didn't realize Cat's Eye was a new artist, but that's just me. And then we have Leon Thomas, we have Lola Young, The Marias, and Somber. I think that the winner is going to be Olivia Dean. I feel like fall, August, like July, towards the end of 2026, it was her. Like every single month, I feel like everybody was like listening to her. I think Olivia Dean is going to win. I feel like some of these, like I said, aren't really new artists. Like the Marias, I feel like they've been around. Yeah, but that's just my little like opinion. But I think it's gonna be Olivia Dean or Addison Rae.
I think it's going to be Olivia Dean or Loki Somber. Wait, actually, I don't know. He might be too young, but like I don't know. I feel like both Somber and Olivia Dean for me both kind of came out of nowhere, and then they're just like everywhere and popping. It's like like they literally were the sound of 2025. So I think they have really high chances. And honestly, I'm glad to see Addison Rae on this list because I feel like people were sleeping on her. And I was there, you guys. I was there. I was like, Addison Rae, what? You guys, listen to Fame is a Gun, listen to Headphones On, and then come back to me. And Diet Pepsi as well. But I just think, like, I don't know, if you kind of like play into the bit, play into the vibe, like, I don't know, she has some good songs. I don't know. And I think she really actually cares about being a pop star in a way and like performing and stuff. So I don't know. I personally like it. Alex Warren, get him away. Like, why is he still here? Like, I still think of him as the guy who was copying David Dobrik. Like, I don't listen to his song Ordinary. Like, it's stupid. It sounds like Cole's music. But that's my personal opinion. Cat's Eye. Listen, some of my friends love Cat's Eye. I love the idea of Cat's Eye. I love their aesthetics. Music. Could be better. The Marias, I would agree. I feel like they've been along for a long time. Lola Young, I feel like I've heard that name, haven't listened to her music, so I can't say, but All that to say is my picks would be Olivia Dean and Somber.
I think the way Kennedy said it, that it's like an artist that came out of nowhere, is what the winner should be. Because I feel like best new artist is someone that's just completely unexpected, like takes the music world by a storm. And like I feel like the ones we talked about are definitely doing that. Because I feel like other ones, they're like more low key, but I wouldn't say they're like new artists. So I hope that when they're giving out this award, that's what they're having in the back of their mind. But those are our little Grammy predictions for like I feel like those are the top 4 awards that most people are like looking to see who's going to win it. But yeah, without further ado, that's all we have for pop culture. The girlies are silent, I feel like, this past week, but we're going to go ahead and get into what we're watching. So I'll go ahead and go first. I had a movie watching spree this past weekend, I guess. I was just binging movies, but I watched Gladiator 1 and Gladiator 2. I had never watched the Gladiator movies personally. I actually enjoyed them. I really liked Gladiator 1. I felt like the story was like pretty well and everything. The killing, the goriness, I didn't realize that. I knew that like in the Colosseum and like during the Gladiator times, they were like no mercy, like full on gore, blood, and all that. I didn't realize that the movie was gonna show all that or like that was a part of it. But wow, like some scenes I'd be like, like no way, like that just happened. And then Gladiator 2, I thought it was also pretty good. I will say, I don't know if this is a controversial opinion or not. I personally didn't like the whole plot line of the prince, like the main guy, Paul Mescal's character, being a son of, or like a son out of wedlock of the first Gladiator movie guy, because I feel like that kind of went against his morals. I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't have cheated on his wife, but that's just me. But I will say I loved Gladiator 2 as well overall, minus that little like storyline plot hole thing. Paul Mescal, I love that man, and he looked so good in his acting role, and he did his thing. And then I also watched Regretting You, which is like one of those book to screen adaptations from Colleen Hoover. I actually hadn't read this book by Colleen Hoover, but I really enjoyed the movie. And I know like my mom and my brother, they knew nothing about like the plot line or like the cheating and all that stuff. They were shook about the whole like cheating stuff. I was shook about one part. I obviously knew about the cheating because I knew about the book and I watched the trailer, which kind of gives it away. But there was one part where I was shook about, and I thought it was a pretty good movie. Like I said, I didn't read the book, but basically this movie, if for those of you guys who don't know, it follows two sisters who have like they're like high school sweethearts, like I don't know, like teenage relationships that they're with in their adult life. And basically, there's this tragic accident where one of the sisters and her husband, not her husband, the other sister's husband dies. So the sister and her brother in law die in a car accident. And it's kind of like picking up like after this and like how that's impacting everyone and their partners that are still alive. And I thought it was a pretty good movie. So if you haven't watched it, I really enjoyed it. And then my other thing that I'm watching, I'm obviously watching my regular shows, but I'm currently rewatching Heated Rivalry again. Let's not ask how many times I've watched it, but I'm making my cousin watch it. So we're currently watching it and we have 2 episodes, the last 2 to go, the best episodes. So yeah, that's all I've been watching this past week.
Everyone get some popcorn because I feel like I'm gonna talk for a minute like I always do. Okay, so first I finished Finding Her Edge, and I know last week I was like, not my type of show. And you guys, now when I watched the first episode, I was like, what does Elizabeth have me watching? Like, what is this? But I'm gonna still keep going because the end had me shook. And then I found myself getting invested. I'm like, wait, this show is low-key kind of tea. So I ended up finishing it. And I don't know if Elizabeth said this last week, but she is in fact Team Brayden. And it was funny because she was telling me and Kelsey to watch it. And me and Kelsey are both Team Freddie. Me personally, in this essay I will, I just think that like Brayden, he was just so like, I genuinely don't know how you can come back from a man that has said some of the worst things he could say to you when you're already in a low moment. When Freddie is just like, he's there, he's loyal, he's your first love. Like, I mean, that's like amazing. I love the ending. So we didn't see much of him, but I think we will see more of him in season 2. Obviously, I'm not gonna spoil, but just know obviously we'll see more of him in season 2. And like, I just don't understand, like, if you're gonna put a tall blonde guy and then a tall brown hair cutie, like, of course I'm gonna go for the brown hair cutie. Like, that is my type. And the actor is really cute as well. I don't like Brayden's ugly or anything. I just like, he's so wishy-washy. Like, he's all in and then he's like, I'm out of here, I'm leaving, and then he comes back and it's just like, you're so unreliable. And I think next season's gonna be T. I can't believe a lot of people are Team Brayden. Like, ew. I think maybe you like toxic men, and maybe you should watch Tell Me Lies and or something, because so you don't repeat patterns, because Brayden because Brayden is terrible.
I feel like there's some pent up rage here and hate towards a character who, if nothing, had some great character development. I feel everybody is entitled to their own opinions, and also some opinions are wrong. And Kennedy's opinion is wrong because I feel Brayden is the correct answer. The fact that the whole fandom is Team Brayden. I have seen like zero Team Freddie edits. So I feel that that just tells you enough. And, yes, he was a douchebag at some point, like in the very beginning. But he learned, he improved, he fell in love too. And also, I feel that Tell Me Lies comparison is a crazy extreme. Like I said, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, even if they're wrong. Team Brayden, personally. Although I will say, like, normally I do like the brunette character, but this one, the blonde one, he won me over. He truly did. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, so I fear I may have to apologize. I kind of blacked out when I was trying to rage bait Elizabeth. Um but I wouldn't go as far as Tell Me Lies. I haven't even seen that show. But yeah, I mean, I'm Team Freddie all the way here, you guys, so don't worry. It's a safe space. I know I'm used to being a minority in the room. And next, I watched Traitors season 4, episode 6 and 7. So I caught up, and you guys, the ending of episode 7, sickening. Rob almost made me cry. I was like, why am I crying over a reality TV show? You guys, just like when there's like an introverted character and then they kind of get like put under their wing, or not under their wing, but like kind of, friendly with more of a person that everyone loves, and then like the person that everyone loves kind of like understands them and sees them, like that's gonna get me every time. So there's this character named Ron who is more of an introvert, and just a lot of people, you know how it is when you're a quiet person. People kind of project a lot of things onto you, and I feel like a lot of people were doing that to Ron. And so he said, like, in an interview, like in the show, like the in between things, I don't know what those are called. He was like, like Ron is an introvert, but like I've gotten to know him. He's a really cool guy, and like someone like that, like the loneliest place for them is in a crowded room. And I said, oh god. Rob, do you know me? And I was like, ugh. And then like I watched this at the wrong time because like I was cleaning out my Snapchat memories, and then freshman year of college, first semester, I was like, wow. I'm like, that is exactly what I felt until honestly up until I graduated college. I feel like towards the later years of college, I like was able to deal with it, but I'm just like, ugh. Just like see people like put what you feel in words is always like validating, even if it's the reality TV show. And I'm like, this is why I love reality TV, because it's why while it gives you the drama and the mess, there's always that relatable reality aspect of it. So I love that, and a lot of people are hating. I'm surprisingly I'm getting a lot of like Rob haters. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna spoil it, but he made a move which I thought was made sense and kind of epic, and people are on the other side. They're on Candace's side, and me personally, I thought what she did was stupid. And I'm Team Rob all the way, and people can stay mad, but he is playing the game as he should. He's playing an impeccable game. So yeah, that's my update on Traitors. And then I finally finished the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 6 reunion. Insane. These women are crazy. Cannot wait for season 7. And then I kind of had myself a movie weekend as well. So I watched Hell of a Summer. It came out in 2023. It is a horror comedy that is co-produced and co-written by Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. And I've wanted to watch it for a long time, but I realized recently that like it was on streaming and I really liked it. I texted my friend Kelsey about it, and I was like, I can definitely tell that he was in the writer's room because you can definitely see some of his humor in it. But it was actually a pretty solid movie. So, I mean, if you're in the mood for like a summer camp horror comedy movie, I would recommend it. And there's a black girl in it that was Finn Wolfhard's love interest. So I was like, of course, you guys know I was self inserting the whole time. Like, yes. But other than that, like, it was a pretty solid movie. And then in the notes, at the time I wrote that I watched half of Frankenstein, but I actually watched all of Frankenstein yesterday. It is almost a 3-hour movie, and I did in fact have to split it up in 3 different sittings to watch it. But you guys, it was so good. I'm trying to like watch as many like Oscar nominated movies before March as I can. So Frankenstein, check, so good. Low key, it is giving. If we're going band for band for gothic movies, Frankenstein is what Nosferatu thought they was doing. Like Frankenstein is so good, and just the storytelling, the costuming, the acting. Like Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, and Mia Goth had rent due because the acting, mwah, impeccable, and everybody else, the storytelling, everything. I love the way they told it, the gothicness of it, really, really good. And honestly, I could watch an even longer movie on Frankenstein. Not even gonna lie, because it was that good. Like it could have been fully the exact 3 hour time mark, and I would have been like, yes. I feel like everything they included was very necessary. There wasn't a single part of the movie that I was like, oh my gosh, can they wrap this up? So really loved it, and I hope it wins something at the Oscars. I need to look to see what categories they are nominated in, but like it deserves its place in the Oscar space.
No, emphasis, you guys, on Frankenstein. I am one to like lose my attention span. I feel like, especially with like those type of like, I don't know, horror, whatever, not even horror. I don't know, whatever category Frankenstein is, I feel like I lose my attention span with it, especially if it's like 3 hours. With that movie, I was sad. My whole family was sad. The fact that my dad, who like normally falls asleep in those kinds of movies, watched the whole thing, that tells you something. But I loved how we saw Frankenstein's like perspective and everything, and just both perspectives, because I feel like obviously most of the time with Frankenstein, we know who the villain is, but just seeing the way it played out in the makeup and everything, yeah, that movie has to win some Oscar, if not multiple Oscars. Yeah, rent due for Guillermo del Toro. But anyways, now we're gonna go ahead and move on to song of the week. I'll let Kenny to go first.
Yes, my song of the week is Aperture by Harry Styles. I was gonna do this last week, but I was like, I'm gonna let Liz have her moment. So this week, we're having my moment with this song. So I can't remember what part she played, but one of my favorite parts of the song is like towards the end, where it's kind of like slow. It's like still like the same lyrics, but it's kind of like not as upbeat, then it's like upbeat again, if that makes sense. So surely you guys can understand what I'm saying in the part I play. Like, tell me that is not a club scene where you're driving up and down with your friends with strobe lights.
No, because I know if Aperture was out when they were filming Heated Rivalry, it would have made the cut for the club scene, 100%. But my song of the week is an oldie but a goodie. It's That's So True by Gracie Abrams. I was watching a YouTube video, and the girl mentioned it, and I was like, wait, I forgot about the song. So here's my favorite part of this song. And I just love how in Gracie's songs, you can like feel the emotions, especially if you're going through it. She knows what she's doing with her songwriting.
And now we're going to get into our winner favorites. Me and Liz, we're going to go back and forth one by one and telling you guys all of our things. I think we have about like 8 each, I believe. So let's just jump right into it. So my first favorite are my robes. I have 2 robes. I have a Matilda Jerf knockoff that I got off of Amazon. And then I have a Tarte one that they sent me when I won the giveaway. And you guys are the best. When I wake up, I'm always so cold. And that's like one of the challenges of getting out of bed. But just knowing that like if I get out of bed, I will have warmth because I have a robe. Like that just like really helps. I just feel like so it's like a luxurious feeling in the morning, even though like a robe isn't necessarily like luxury, but it just feels like a form of self-care in the morning, just bundling myself up in my robe.
I've recently been putting on a robe after I shower, and it is life-changing. It is life-changing, you guys, so get on it if you aren't already. My first favorite of the week is actually a gift from Kennedy, but this is like a long name. It's the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Clear Lip Sleeping Mask. It's basically a sleeping mask from Neutrogena with like a squeezy tube, and you guys, it is so good. I love it. Even using it like throughout the day as a little like chapstick, because I feel like in the winter your lips get so dry. Mine currently are right now. I don't have it on hand, but it like leaves like a really like glossy feeling, but also like super hydrating, and it lasts. Like I'll put it on and my lips are hydrated, especially if I'm like going out and about or just want like a quick little application. It will last for hours until like I eat or like drink water. So I really like it, and I love the glossiness of it. So if you guys need something that's glossy and nourishing, check out Neutrogena.
And then my next favorite are jumbo scarves, the ones where you can just throw up and like make yourself like a little makeshift hood. Thanks to Elizabeth, that's how I know it. But they have come in handy this winter. Like when I was out shoveling snow, you already know I had that going on, and it just truly helped a lot with like the wind and stuff. And there's other times I've done that, worn my scarves like that as well, and they're just like so comfy. My only thing is, I don't know if it's just like the quality of the scarves, or if it's just like that's just what happens with those type of scarves. They do shed a lot, which sometimes can be annoying, but I mean, I don't really care about it that much, but it is something I notice. But I just love the convenience of having a big scarf like that. So if you live in a cold place, it's worth it to invest in one.
I feel like they're also so stylish, especially like the different colorful ones and everything. They just add something to like your winter coat basically because that's the only thing that's showing outside. And I feel like they're just so European. So something about them, it makes me feel like really classy. But my next one, I talked about this last week, is a candle. I love setting the mood in my room, especially in the winter time. I feel like a lot of mine are gonna have to do with like being indoors because you just don't want to be outside in the cold. So you got to make the indoors feel like home and cozy. So I love a good candle. Yeah, I talked about this last week, so you guys, if you're a real one, you know how I feel about them.
And then my next favorite is the downtime feature on the iPhone slash do not disturb. So downtime is essentially where it's like a more stricter version of like app limits. Cause at first I thought Apple you could only do app limits. I'm like, I don't like that. I just need like certain time blocks of when I can't get on any apps. And so that's what downtime is. And there's also another section where there's like you can select apps that like you can always allow even when it's in that time. So I have it picked where it's like all these apps like I can't get on between a certain time period. So today is Sunday when we're filming this. So I always go a little bit later on Sunday, but from 10:30 p.m. to 9 a.m. I can not get on any social media, yada yada yada. I mean there is a workaround, but it's like I'm not the type of person to like go through a workaround. You don't have to like enter a password or anything, but I just know that's like okay, if it's logged, like I don't really need it. And if I have everything I need, and if someone really needs to get in contact with me, then like they'll find other ways. But it just really helps create that separation. And then on the weeknights, I have it from 10 o'clock to 9 o'clock a.m. So that's perfect. And during that time, I put D&D on because it's like again school, like nobody needs me that much. I feel like the reason why I put this on is because usually I found myself just being up late like with school stuff and school emails and people texting me. I'm like school is not that important. Like I need to like disconnect and just kind of like reset and like relax and unwind after a long day. And like the only things that I have access to really to like gives me still media during those time periods is YouTube because I don't really count that as social media, and Spotify so I can listen to music and podcasts. But other than that, I don't have access to really any other social media. And now my activations, I'll be using that. So it's just like really nice and has really helped with my relationship with like just getting off my phone and off social media and just creating a separation between myself and my phone because I don't want my phone to be like an extension of me.
My next one is an extra plush soft blanket. That's the name of it, you guys. It's long, but it basically just a really soft blanket. The one that I specifically have is from Costco and it's a queen size. So it's the perfect size because I can just like sometimes, honestly, most of the time, I'll fold it in half and then like wrap myself around it. So it's like extra warm. And something about having a soft blanket when I was living in Europe and Spain, my host family, like where I stayed at, I didn't have like a soft blanket like that, and I missed my blanket from home so, so much, you guys. And just a soft blanket that you can like, if you're sitting at your desk, you can throw it around yourself. If you're like downstairs in the living room or something, like you can just throw it on, and it's just so soft. It automatically feel warm, and it has to be like a soft one. If you go to like TJ Maxx and you find those soft ones, like that kind of feel. Specifically if it's like a queen size, extra big, it just wraps your whole body around. It's a little cocoon. So I love myself a good blanket.
Yes, and I feel like blankets are one of those things that it's worth it to invest in. And then my next thing kind of follows off my last thing I brought up, but my hatch, of course, I brought her up before. But genuinely, she is like the best thing ever. She like helps me like stick to routine because I hear the music go off at 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I need to be in bed or need to start getting ready to go towards bed. And then I have my little routines. It just helps me in the morning. Like sometimes in the morning my hatch goes off and I'm up, but I just let it play because I just love the light on my face. And I love the music. So I don't know, this might be fun. I can like tell you guys real quick what my nighttime routines are. It's very simple. I have two different ones. My first one, which I have set right now, is 5 minutes of restful meditation with like a pink purplish like light, and then a 60-minute reading soundscape. And then once that goes off, if I happen to still be reading and stuff like that's kind of like the cutoff point. And then then it goes into my sleep sound, which is the bedside fan for an hour and 30. And I'm gonna tell you guys, very rarely do I make it to the bedside fan. Like, I'm typically asleep before the reading soundscape is done. My other routine is 20 minutes of retro sound baths from space for 20 minutes. It's like a brownish color. And then island getaway for 30 minutes. And then it falls into my bedside fan. But I also like to use the rain, like rain on a porch sounds as well for my sleep. But right now I'm doing bedside fan, but I alternate between those two. So those are my routines if you're curious.
And then my next one, my theme here is like warm and cozy, you guys, is what I'm noticing. But my next one is a long coat, especially if you live in a cold state, city, country, whatever it is. You live somewhere cold, you need a long coat that like goes to your knees. I have two. I have one that's like one of those that can like that's kind of thinner, but it's also super warm that can fold up and basically become like a little bag, fold up into itself. And that one is like really nice when it's not like freezing, and it goes a little bit above my knee. And then I also have my like I call it my Alaska coat because when I went to Alaska, it's the coat that I bought for Alaska, but it goes below my knees. It's like a really insulated like I don't want to say it's heavy because I always think like heavy jackets like when you're a little kid going to school and you have those like big like snowman marshmallow like jackets. It's not like big like that, but it is those like long coats. It kind of gives like the Ritzia vibe. But you need a long coat. Something about just like being warm at least from the knees up to your neck that you can like fully zip up. It's just a need in a cold state, especially right now in Kentucky where we're like snowed in. Not snowed in, but it's like snow outside. You just need a long coat, and it's like they are expensive, but they truly are worth the investment because you're going to be using it. And I feel like when you get to like college age, you don't care about like what people think of you wearing a coat and you being warm, because I feel like in high school, at least our high school, nobody wore coats. I would always wear my coat. I was never one of those people, but there would be people like going into the school in shorts, and I'm like, you guys are crazy. Like, it is cold, you need a coat on. Like, where's your mom to tell you that? So, but I feel like when you get to college, you kind of like, you're like, walking in class and you really don't care. So you like get over that if you, for some reason, have that in your mindset. And a long coat is worth the investment. That's my ramble on long coats.
And I will second that. My next favorite is making matcha at home. I have just loved the ritual and practice of it with like the little whisk and everything. And then we bought some like cold foam from the store that's like in the same bottles of like a whipped cream bottle. So like I do that too. And it's just like a fun little thing, something to look forward to. And I'm not necessarily getting the caffeine benefits because it's not really a lot of matcha, but it's just still like a fun drink to have. And honestly, I'm like, it honestly tastes like just on par as like the matchas I've gotten from like Starbucks and Dunkin'. But then, like, at least I know my matchas are like actually mixed all the way through, because like usually those matchas, like there's freaking chunks at the bottom where they didn't like shift it and stuff. So I'm like, at least I know my matcha's like pretty good. So I'm excited. I'm very happy about having a matcha kit and making matcha at home.
That really made me laugh for some reason. But yeah, what can you say? We all need a little whisk, including me. But my next one is reading. I feel like when you're inside, not in the cold and everything, there's a point where you get bored of scrolling on your phone. Like, it's bad when there's nothing for you to watch. Like, you just get bored. Like, there's nothing new. Like, you're switching between apps and nothing's new. Like, everything you've already seen it all. That's when it gets bad. But I love reading in the wintertime. I love reading year round, but specifically in the wintertime because, I don't want to be on my phone all the time or like on my laptop and doing all that stuff. And reading a good book with the mood set and everything is just always chef's kiss, amazing vibes. And especially if you have a good book series to like just get into it, it just makes everything so much better. And you can like escape the cold and the world that you're currently in.
And then my next one is the Road Glazing Milk and Barrier Cream. As a sensitive skin girly with really dry skin, those have really been some like unsuspecting, like surprising, like favorites of the winter. Like obviously, I just got it because I was like, like I'll put it on my Christmas list. Like this is what the girls are asking for. Like I'm gonna ask for it as well. And then imagine my surprise when my skin actually like really enjoyed it. So the glazing milk I use pretty much every day. And like you know how everyone's like, oh, like you put this product on it, like it gives you a glow. And like I've always been like, yeah, whatever. But like genuinely, like I put that toner on, I'm like, wait, my skin actually kind of has a glow with that. So imagine that mixed with my sunscreen that also leaves a nice glowy finish. I'm like, yeah, I like this. So I've been loving that. And then I only use their barrier cream if like I've really been exposed to like a lot of like wind and stuff. Or if I know I'm gonna be out in really cold conditions, and my skin has loved it. I know a lot of people have talked about, breaking out and stuff. It definitely is like a moisturizing product, so like don't over moisturize your face, but for at least for me, with someone with combination skin and eczema, these two products have been really nice and my skin has loved them.
My next one is a pair of Uggs. I only have one pair, but it's like the Tasman ones, the ones that have like a little bit of a platform. And I wear these like every single day, guys. Every single day. It's quite bad because I wear them as like slippers indoor. But then also if I just need to slip on a shoe, you obviously like in the winter you need your feet covered, and it's kind of like harder because most things are like sneakers, tennis shoes, And these you can just slip them on. You're good to go. Your feet are warm, and I just love how you can wear them like indoor and outdoor kind of, they kind of like alternate a little bit. And they're really cute too. They just add a little bit something, but sometimes I am like, okay, what shoe am I going to wear today? And, it's always ends up going back to my Uggs. They're just tried and true. And I feel like if you take care of them and you like get like a little spray, because I like got the like waterproofing spray that makes it waterproof, I have no issue with them. So I feel like if you just take care of them, you'll be fine.
And I'm going to second Liz that unfortunately Uggs are indeed worth the hype. I remember I got my first pair and I was like, yep, these are everything and more. And I definitely in the future would love to buy more pairs of Uggs. So yeah, Uggs, they're a winter classic, a winter essential. And then my next favorite is my niche YouTubers and influencers. So these are people that, they have like a good amount of following, but they're not necessarily like, Alex Earl or stuff like that. But I feel like it's always just so cozy to watch those type of influencers because like you are stuck in the house more when it's winter. So just have those people to watch is really cool. So again, I'm gonna give some recommendations, and they're not like niche in the sense that they have like 20K, but like niche in the fact that they're not like Alex Earl, like I said. So some ones that come off the top of my head that I'm loving are Hadassah. She recently just moved to Paris for study abroad, so I'm super excited for those videos to come out. Ruby Lynn, Ava Maloche, I've talked about her a lot, and just a lot more that I have. I literally all I do is watch YouTube, honestly. So if you guys really want to know, DM me, I guess, and I can give you guys a whole curated list. But they are just like they just are so real, and just they're so aesthetic, and it's like a good experience every time you go watch their content. And I found that I like having those niche influencers on like TikTok too. But I feel like TikTok is kind of just like random people I follow, so like I couldn't necessarily give you someone off the top of my head, but just know they are there, and I encourage you to find your niche people.
Yes, emphasis on the ones that are like less than like 500,000 followers on YouTube, subscribers, not followers. Oh my gosh, subscribers on YouTube, because I feel like they truly put out content where like their editing is unmatched. It's so unmatched and it's so slept on because you can tell they put so much effort into it, and it's those videos that like you want it to be longer. So yeah, I feel like any YouTuber, not any, but most YouTubers that are like under 500,000, I feel like that's a good like mark, and they put out content on the regular. Like the bigger influencers, they've forgotten what that's like, I guess. But my last favorite of the week, anyways, is skincare. In the wintertime, I feel like it's so hard sometimes because like you're not necessarily going out as much, you're like staying in more, or like sometimes you don't even leave the house. So it's like, what's the point in like doing my skincare? And like while I do granted have those days where like I'm laying in bed, I'm not doing anything, and I do have those days where like even for me, I'm like, I'm not doing it. For the most part, I still try to stick true to my skincare routine in the morning and in the evening. And I feel like it's also a time where you want to like pay more attention to your skin because you can get super dry, like all that kind of stuff, can happen, and things can spur up that doesn't happen in the summertime. So I love taking care of my skin, and I'm going to shout out some like little products that I've been using recently. But gua shaing, I love gua shaing my face. I'm not the most consistent that I do it every single day, but I'm getting more and more consistent. But I think I just really enjoy doing it. I don't know if I've seen a difference yet, but I've been enjoying it. And then also just like things that make your skin feel refreshed, like a good face mask, a good like moisturizer, washing your face, washing it with water, all that kind of stuff. I really enjoy just really taking care of my skin in the wintertime, more so than other seasons for some reason. But those are all of my winter favorites.
And then my last winter favorite is journaling. Transparently, I haven't still done it a lot in January, but the real new year starts in February. So, February, I'm putting out the energy that I'm going to commit to one of like my goal of wanting to journal. But I want to, again, with me having my phone, like have that be less of an extension of myself. I want my journal to become that replacement. And so I think actually watched a video today about a girl who I love, Moya, another niche YouTuber that I love, and she was talking about journaling, and she's talking about the artist way and how they talk about morning pages. And I think that might be my first step into getting back into the groove in journaling. It's just like 3 pages, just dump whatever you're feeling in that moment. And maybe I can even do that at night, but honestly, morning would probably be the best for me, like while I'm eating or something, because it's not like I can do anything on my phone. My social media is not available till 9 a.m. So I'm thinking about incorporating morning pages. And then there's so many journal prompts that I love, but I sometimes can get overwhelmed with like what I want to journal about because there's so many journal prompts. So I'm thinking about making like a prompt jar. And so it's like whenever I'm like, oh, I can move on from morning pages, I can just pull one and be like, yo, I guess I'm gonna journal about this today. But yeah, and I definitely want to just journal more about my day to day life. But life gets busy sometimes and you just don't feel like it. But I just really want to work better on that and finish the journal that I have now because I have my eye on some new journals, but it would be a waste of money to buy them right now. So yeah, that's my last winter favorite.
And without the further ado, that is the end of our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I believe this is episode 84. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this episode. We're almost to the 100 mark, which is crazy to think about. But make sure you guys are following us on all of our socials. Shout out to our TikTok, our YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen on. Make sure you guys follow us because we love to interact with you guys. But we'll see you guys next week. And thank you so much again. Bye.
Bye.